Hey guys, and welcome to the start of a new weekly reading vlog, and today is the first day of the Medievalathon and the Hero's Journey Readathon. Obviously there's also Believathon and Tome Topple this month, but that's not until next week or the week after, so I'm just going to start here instead and just focus on some of the other prompts. So this week I want to focus on mainly Unseen Academicals by Terry Pratchett and also Lobizona, which hasn't arrived yet because it's not out until the 5th and today is the 1st, so obviously it's not here yet. But I want to start on this one and then obviously going to Lobizona, and I'm really excited because obviously this is not a Terry Pratchett book I've read and I just love Terry Pratchett, so very excited to get to this one. And funnily enough, I will also be reading it on the 30th anniversary of Good Omens. I thought the 30th anniversary was actually 2 days ago, but it's actually today, so that's all good. It is also the day that Black Widow would have been released if none of this was happening. So I'm literally wearing my Black Widow t-shirt to make up for it, because I would have been wearing this anyway and freaking out over Black Widow. But obviously I can't do that, so instead I'm watching Frankenstein tonight, which is fine, because it's Frankenstein. I really loved Frankenstein the play, so it's all good, but I would have preferred watching Black Widow, not gonna lie. But enough talking about films and stuff. I need to get on with Unseen Academicals because I need to finish it before the 5th, but before I can start reading that, I've got to try and edit my video, which is my TBR for this month, which I filmed yesterday and then didn't edit, so I've got to do that and then I've got to upload it tonight, so I'm gonna get going with it. Okay, so we're now around to Monday again. Basically the weekend was... I don't even know what I did this weekend. I have no idea what I did this weekend. But all I do know is I did manage to reach page 139 of Unseen Academicals. And the reason why this one is taking so long is because it's about football. I didn't realise that when I went into it, but it is very much about football. It's also about tribalism and just sort of identity and stuff like this. But the main part of it, it's about football, and everything is sort of revolving around football. And even though it's Discworld, if I hear football, my brain switches off. So I'm only managing about 50 pages a day. So the plan is to read 50 pages a day and then also read comics while I'm at it, because obviously I've got like 9 comics on the board this month to read. So I should probably, you know, read the comics. So I'm gonna read 50 pages of this a day and then I'm gonna go through the comics, and I'm planning on reading at least 4 this week, and I'm thinking of focusing on the ebook ones and then going on to the physical in the last week of May, so I just sort of stretch it out a little bit further. So yeah, that's how the plan's going. I mean, I am enjoying this, but it's going really slowly for me because I don't care about football, so I'm hoping that the comic swapping in and out is going to help with that. So yeah, and I've also discovered that I can't read Lobizona this month because it's been pushed back to August, so I can't read it. So instead, for the duology prompt, I'm now going to read House of X, Powers of X, which is a duology. It is part of a larger series of X-Men comics, but those ones are a duology bind up, so I'm going to read that one instead. It still counts. It definitely still counts, and I also really badly want to read it, so I'm going to give that one a shot. But right now, 50 pages of this, well, it's more like about 60, 70 today, because I didn't read 50 pages like over Saturday and Sunday, so I need to hurry up and read a few more to sort of make up numbers, and then I can go read comics, but that's fine. So I'm now on to page 195, so I'm basically halfway through Unseen Academicals and I'm still struggling, to be honest. It's because it's mostly about football, and then the other characters are sort of getting into modelling clothes for dwarves, which is odd, but that's just usual Discworld odd. And I mean, there are interesting things happening in this, and there are interesting characters, because we get to see Ridcully and Ponder Stibbons and people like that, who obviously in quite a few of these books. We've had a few mentions of Rincewind and a few mentions of, we'll ignore my phone for a second, We've had a few mentions as well of Corporal Nobby Nobbs, who is one of the characters of the Night Watchman, is basically my favourite one because he's so ridiculous. So there's a few characters in here that I'm like, I enjoy reading about you kind of thing, but it's just not fully grabbing me right now because, yeah, it's about football. I can't get over the football thing. Quite frankly, I can't get over the football thing. But what I have figured out is if I read 68 pages today, tomorrow and Thursday, it'll get done. So that's what I'm going to do. On the other hand, I did start House of X, Powers of X, and I read House of X yesterday. So I've now got the daggers prompt for the Medievalathon, which was to start or finish a duology. I wasn't going to finish the duology because the next three in the series, like the next three that follow on from this series, because it is a duology, but then Dawn of X comes afterwards, and I think that's sort of like what happens after these original two, so I'm counting it as a duology because it's in a bind up of two. We're just going to ignore my phone going nuts, okay? But anyway, I started House of X yesterday, and the only way I can describe it is X-Men meets Westworld with time travel. Only way I can describe it, because there's like 4 different timelines going on, and like Westworld, so you're trying to figure out which timeline you're in all the time. And there is explanations about Moira and things like this, and it's interesting to see Charles and Eric working together for once and all the different characters that are coming into it. But it is slightly confusing, I'm not going to lie. I'm enjoying it, but I am confused. But hopefully I will finish Powers of X today and then things will make more sense then. Fingers crossed, because I think this is supposed to change the way we look at the X-Men forever, so that'd be quite interesting. So yeah, I'm going to try and finish that today and read another 68 pages of this. So I should probably stop buggering about online and actually, getting on with it. So yeah, 68 pages and the other half of a comic. Let's get going. I've got to stop saying let's get going. I really do. So it's now Thursday and today's going to be a really busy day because I've got to refilm a video, which admittedly I've already done. I've got to do the washing. I've got to write 3 different articles for my blog and the Valkyries. And I've also got to try and finish Unseen Academicals, which is all the way over there, and I'm not going to grab it right now. Yeah, there's a lot of things to do. Oh, and I also need to edit that video, so it's ready for tomorrow, because tomorrow I want to start the Well of Ascension. So, yeah, a lot to do. But also, on top of that, I've just found out that in July they're starting a Skullduggery Pleasant read-along from book 1 onwards, and I've decided that I'm taking part on a whim because obviously it's Skullduggery Pleasant. I love it. I have not read the original couple of books in several years. Quite frankly, it's been a while since I read the original books. The last time I picked up the first book in the series was when I went to Yauk last year to get it signed by Derek Landy himself, which was pretty damn awesome. And yeah, I haven't read the original ones in a while, and it's taken me until reading the later ones in the series last year to realise how many pop culture references are in these books. So I want to go back to the originals and reread the whole way through. So what I'm doing is I'm now not going to read the first 2 in the next series of the Skullduggery Pleasant series. Instead, if I get time, I'm going to read the first 2 in the Spiderwick Chronicles instead, because they're very quick. Like 2 of those books is probably equivalent to 1 Skullduggery. Maybe, if that, and then if I've got time I'll probably read through the entire series. Not next week, the week after. Maybe, if I've got time, because obviously I do want to support the Believathon, and that way I am doing the first and the last prompt, and then I can just carry on with the Spiderwick series, because I've never even finished it. But, right now, I need to calm down, take a breath, and edit this video, then write my articles, and then finish Unseen Academicals, so then tomorrow I can literally just start the Well of Ascension and just get on with that, essentially. So I'm going to shut up and get on. I need to stop thinking about the Skullduggery Pleasant readathon, but I'm just like, there's people in the community reading Skullduggery, and it's just made me horrendously excited. Just horrendously excited. Okay, seeing as Time Topple starts tomorrow, so I'm going to be starting a new book, I thought I'd wrap up this reading vlog here. So this week I managed to read Unseen Academicals, and unfortunately this was not my favourite Terry Pratchett book whatsoever, because it was about football. Obviously I enjoyed the message and the characters surrounding the football, but because so much of it was about football and I have no interest in football, it didn't work for me as much as I wanted it to. It's still good, I still enjoy the message behind it, but it's not my favourite, put it that way. And I gave it 3 stars. And then on my Kindle I managed to read 3 comics. The first one being House of X, which is an X-Men comic, and then Powers of X, also an X-Men comic, which is the follow-on from it. Really enjoyed those 2. They're a bit Westworldy in terms of running about all over the place in terms of timelines and realities and all the rest of it, so that was a bit confusing, but I really enjoyed where this takes the X-Men and the intrigue of it and everything else. I adore watching Charles and Eric team up together because obviously that is not something I see often, and I love it. Essentially, it was really good. I wouldn't say it's my favourite X-Men comic, but it's still rather good. It's good enough for the fact that I've bought the next 3 in the series, and I gave both of them 4 stars. And then the other thing I managed to read was Fantastic Four Forever, which is obviously a Fantastic Four comic where it turns out the Richards, as in Reed and Sue and their kids, have been missing for a year, and what's going on there. And I quite enjoyed it, I've got to admit. It was fun. I didn't know what had happened beforehand whatsoever because I haven't kept up with Fantastic Four. This was actually my first Fantastic Four mainline comic. The only other thing I've really seen them in is Marvel 1602, and apart from that I haven't really seen them in anything, so it was really interesting to see them in their own comic, and the constant talk of how they are family and that they stick together and all the rest of it was absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I think the villain could have been a bit better, I guess, maybe, and maybe a bit more prevalent and a bit more difficult to destroy, but at the same time I don't really care because I enjoyed myself so much, so I ended up giving that 4 stars as well. So that means in terms of the Medievalathon, I've now got a horse, I've got one of the green outfits, the green and red one, and I've also got a set of daggers, so I'm doing well here. And with that I'm going to leave it here, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up, comment down below with what you've read this week, I'd love to know. I'll also leave a link down below to all of my social media if you want to check it out. And if you want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time guys, bye!